The film opens with a woman, Alethea Binney, narrating a story about herself, which she says she will tell as a fantasy. She is arriving in Istanbul for a convention where she will be speaking with other scholars, as Alethea studies mythology. Upon arriving, a small man approaches Alethea and puts his hand on her luggage handle, whispering something to her and emitting a strange glowing energy from his hand. Alethea joins her colleagues as they head to the convention. She delivers a speech on mythology and its connection to reality, when she sees a large metal-looking man in the audience. As she walks away, the metal man appears to charge after her, and Alethea passes out. The other professors help her to her feet, and she gives a thumbs up to the audience. Alethea is invited by Professor Gunhan to an antique shop. She finds a glass bottle that the shop owner describes as being blown centuries earlier. While Gunhan offers to buy Alethea something that looks nicer, she is fascinated by the bottle and asks for it. Back in her hotel room, Alethea cleans the bottle since it has fire damage. When she brushes it with her electric toothbrush, the bottle opens and unleashes a djinn. The djinn appears gigantic at first, but he is able to bring himself down to a normal but still imposing size, and he demonstrates his powers to Alethea by absorbing knowledge from the TV and grabbing a projection of Albert Einstein from the screen. He also tells Alethea about his powers to grant wishes, but states the limits to his powers, such as being unable to grant immortality or absolve sins. His ultimate desire is to be free from his imprisonment, but Alethea thinks he is trying to trick her. Alethea talks to the djinn, where she tells him some information on herself. She went to an all-girls school and created an imaginary romance with a boy that she wrote about called Enzo. She also tells the djinn that she was once married to a man named Jack, and she was pregnant with a boy they planned to call Enzo, but it is implied that Alethea miscarried and her marriage ended sadly. The djinn then proceeds to tell Alethea about how he came to be imprisoned. Thousands of years earlier, the djinn was in love with Queen Sheba, but King Solomon sought her as well. He traveled far and won her over by playing the harp for her. While Solomon took Sheba to bed, he sensed the djinn's presence and imprisoned him in a brass bottle, which he threw into the ocean, leaving him there for over 2,000 years. A djinn's dilemma. The djinn continues telling Alethea of what has led him to this point. The brass bottle was found by a slave girl named Gulten, who was in love with Prince Mustafa. She encountered the djinn, who granted her the wishes of wooing Mustafa and becoming pregnant with his child. However, Mustafa's father, Sultan Suleiman, had a favored concubine, Hurrem, who convinced Suleiman that Mustafa was making a play for his throne and might deceive him to do so. If you have come this far in the video, please subscribe to this channel to never miss amazing content like this. Suleiman hired assassins to murder Mustafa and go after Gulten. The jinn begged her to make a third wish to save herself, but she was caught and killed before she could do so, and the jinn remained in the brass bottle. 2 brothers and a giantess. Long after, there lived 2 young brothers, Murad and Ibrahim. As children, the 2 came close to finding the brass bottle where the jinn remained trapped, but they could barely move the stone where Gulten had hidden it. Murad went off to fight before he could take over his kingdom. Their mother left Ibrahim in a prison with concubines of his choosing. Ibrahim had a preference toward more voluptuous and heavy-set women. Murad was more violent and bloodthirsty, casually killing other men in the kingdom for sport. After Murad died, Ibrahim was forced to become ruler against his wishes. He retained his harem of concubines and had a lead one named Sugar Lump. While wandering through the caverns, Sugar Lump slipped, and her body smashed the stone that was guarding the brass bottle. The jinn is summoned, but despite him trying to get Sugar Lump to make a wish, she rejects his gifts and wishes he be sent back to where he came from, so he is once again forced to be imprisoned in the bottle at the bottom of the ocean. Back in the present, Alethea becomes annoyed with the jinn and his badgering for her to make wishes. They get into an argument, culminating in Alethea saying that she is beginning to wish that they never met. This causes the jinn to freak out, as this has happened to him before. The complication of Zephyr. The Jinn tells one more story about a young scholar named Zephyr. She was married at the age of 12 to a much older man, who favored her over his 2 older wives. When she wasn't satisfying her husband's needs, Zephyr pursued knowledge. The husband discovered the brass bottle and gave it to Zephyr as a gift. After unleashing the Jinn, Zephyr wished for expanded knowledge. While staying with her, the Jinn began to fall in love with Zephyr and showed her his magic, including a new bottle he made for himself. However, Zephyr grows overwhelmed, and when the Jinn attempts to hide himself in the bottle until she is better, Zephyr uses her last wish to say that she wishes they never met, so she forgets all about the Jinn. After the Jinn finishes his stories, Alethea makes her first wish for them to fall in love. The Jinn picks her up and they appear to begin to make love as cosmic imagery surrounds them. Alethea brings the Jinn with her back to London. She has to deal with 2 bigoted neighbor women, calling them out on their behavior. The Jinn convinces Alethea to be better than them by offering them a chickpea snack that the Jinn first offered to her. The women meet the Jinn and are cordial with him. Some time passes, and the Jinn begins to grow weaker, with his body appearing to decay due to cell towers and satellite transmissions affecting the material that his body is made of. Alethea tries to help and uses her second and third wishes to get the Jinn to speak again and for him to be healed, meaning he will be free and return to his own world. 3 years later, Alethea has written a new book. She is surprised to see the Jinn, now fully healed, having come to visit her. As they walk off together, Alethea's closing narration states that the Jinn would continue to visit her every now and then. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comment section below which movie you want us to recap next. As always, until the next time.